Hi, thanks again for tuning into Sin's Workshop here on YouTube. I hope everyone's having a great day. So today we're going to be talking about Don't Call a Wolf by Aleksandra Ross. This is a story I really enjoyed because it is so reminiscent of a Grimm fairy tale, and I mean that in like some of the best ways. I read the Grimm fairy tales. I'm currently in the process of reading all of them to my son. I try to read to him every night. I haven't read to him this week. I really have to change that. I'll probably read to him tonight. But this novel really is reminiscent of that. I mean, it's so reminiscent that you could literally start the first chapter of this book with Once Upon a Time. And you know what I did, actually? I read the prologue, and then you know what I did? I reread it out loud again to my son. And I did start it off with Once Upon a Time, and it fits so perfectly. And then the ending of the book, you could end it with, and they all lived happily ever after. I mean, it's such a great story. It flows so much like a fairy tale. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was absolutely breathtaking to read. The structure of the story is also really interesting. I loved that opening chapter, that prologue. I absolutely adored it. I think it was the best thing ever. Sorry, thanks. I really do need to trim them. But I thought it was the best thing ever because I loved how it worked. I loved how it flowed so much like a fairy tale. You have this coming of a gold dragon, and I love that. I love dragons. I've got so much dragon stuff. I've got dragon coasters, I've got a dragon pen holder, I've got a dragon lamp. I love dragons. Okay? And I always go to Supercon, I always look for a nice pocket knife with a dragon on it. We've got several. So if it has a dragon on it, I'm probably gonna buy it. And lots of decorative dragon knives, for decoration. But I can certainly sharpen them if I still wanted. But anyway, I love dragons. If it's a story with a dragon, I'm gonna love it. Probably. If it's a dragon story that I don't love, then we're gonna have a problem. But this is one that I did love. I really actually enjoyed this novel. And you've got this coming of a gold dragon. And I don't know if anyone has read Dragonlance. If you think gold dragon, gold dragons are typically, good dragons. If you play Dungeons and Dragons, gold dragons are supposedly, the good side of the spectrum. Their counterpart would be the red dragon, which would be on the evil spectrum. Ooh, coffee spill. But yeah, I know a lot about dragons. I've got a bunch of dragon books. I've got the Draconomicon and Dungeons and Dragons manuals, monster manuals with dragons. So see, I really love dragons, and you're learning a lot about how much of a nerd I am when it comes to dragons. I even have a Funko Pop Smog, and my mom has Toothless, and I love dragons. That's a thing. Anyway, so you have this dragon, and it's kind of just destroying things, but there's a method to the madness, and I love it. The evolution of the story is absolutely amazing. I love it so much. I can't say that enough. I love the evolution of the story. Ross uses so much of her Polish heritage and her Polish culture to drive this story forward. And I just finished reading The Last Wish, the Witcher book, and I have to say, this is sort of like a young adult version of that. She uses her Polish roots and her Polish heritage to write the story, to develop the fairy tale and the fantasy. And I thought it was expertly executed. I mean, there's so much life in this novel. There's so much vitality in the storytelling. And the way it moves, I've already said this, it moves so fluidly. You're kind of drawn into it. You're lulled into it because you are reading a fairy tale, basically. But it's such a unique rendition of a fairy tale. It's reminiscent of The Witcher almost. It's reminiscent of the Grimm fairy tales. It has such a calling to it. You're kind of sucked into it because of how well it's written and how the story is moving and evolving surrounding Ren and Lucas as they embark through this dark, treacherous forest, facing off monsters to go up into the mountains to Lucas's home that he had to flee because of the dragon. And then they go and they face the dragon, and then plot twist, and then another plot twist, and then story ends. And it was great. Now, I think I've already fangirled enough about how I love the story and how much I thought it was so well done and well executed. What was also really well done were, I think, the characterization and character dynamics. I give this novel 4 stars because as well as I thought these character dynamics were, I felt at times that they were a little stoic, a little too stiff, you know? I felt like they were a little too stiff. And that's just me. They do balance each other out very well. Ren is a lynx, she can go from human to lynx, and she likes to fight off the monsters. It's her forest. She hates these monsters. And the dragon has sort of awakened all these monsters, As the darkness rises, the monsters keep coming. You've got Striga, you've got a lot of, monsters in this story that they have to fight and face, and I love it. Lots of action. But while Ren and Lucas do balance each other out, I feel like there are times where their voices kind of lose their personality, and I hope that makes sense. They have a good dynamic, and their dynamic grows very well, and you really do get to know who these characters are through their actions. Ren is a pretty formidable character. People think of her as a monster because of one thing that she did, but she really does care about her forest. And she's not a fan of the humans because of the things that they've done to her animal friends, or how they sort of tear down her forest. Plus, she thinks they're idiots because, they keep going in and try to fight the Striga, and then they keep dying, and then, when they die, they just end up creating more Striga, for example. She thinks that, they're idiots, and, she's not wrong. Anyway, she's a good character. She's a formidable character. But I feel like she's a little stiff at times. Like, she's got all her muscles just coiled, like she's ready, and I feel like she's just a little too stiff at times, that you don't really get to see the full effect of her personality, at least not until the end, when she's just like, enough of this nonsense, we're done with this, let's just go get this dragon. She does come to life, which I think shows a lot of Ross's talent for character development. Character development is really important to me, because if your characters don't grow, then what was I reading, And as for Lucas, he gets a little bit more devotion because there are inserts. He had brothers. He had 9 older brothers, and all these brothers left to go back home to fight the dragon. So you get to see where he came from, his beginnings, and then you see how every brother influenced him, and how them leaving influenced him, and how him remembering them sort of changes who he is as you're reading it, you know? You see how he became who he was at the start of the novel through these one chapter segments of each brother. And then as he's remembering each brother, because let's face it, they're memories of these brothers, you know, he gets to reflect upon himself and grows through that. And I think that's a really interesting way to showcase character development and character growth, you know. I think the reader knows that these are memories. It's very clear, but she doesn't have to just say it. She doesn't say, oh, he remembered. No, they're just chapters about him and his brother. Him and a brother. You know, it's clear to the reader that these are memories, and I love how Ross doesn't introduce every chapter with, oh, this is a memory of this brother. You know? She's able to keep the story moving. She's able to keep the fluidity moving. You know, there's no boom, boom. There are no breaks in it. So I really enjoy that as far as her storytelling goes. And I really loved the fairy tale aspect of this story. It reads like a fairy tale, but it also reads like a novel. You know, it's expertly written. I can't say that enough, and I really did enjoy this novel, so I really do highly recommend it. It's Don't Call the Wolf by Aleksandra Ross, published by Harper Teen. Please check this book out from your local library if money is too tight. And if it's not too tight, please remember to support your local bookseller. You know, you can go on bookshop.org, which does send some proceeds to indie booksellers across the country. And you can, you know, Barnes & Noble, you can support Barnes & Noble, IndieBound, Book Depository. Please just support your local bookseller. Amazon gets enough business. They don't need our book business either. So, on that note, please don't forget to like. And if you liked this video, please don't forget to subscribe. I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. And as always, happy reading!